I can keep on sharing. Hi, everybody. My name is Naomi. So I'm from France. I started this journey maybe 5, 6 years ago because I felt a huge call from my womb and I had some trouble. And I felt that I needed to go deeper inside. And I'm teaching yoga and I decided to study more towards feminine yoga. And then I had this big call to take care of women, and I lost my best friend. So I faced the door of death, and then I faced the door of creation of my own womb. And then I decided to train to become a doula. So I'm now supporting women for before and after birth with different rituals, postpartum care. And I'm also a professional weaver. So I'm weaving some carrier for babies and faja, the belts. And I just came back from 6 months traveling to Guatemala and Mexico, learning with the midwives. So I practice now Mariana abdominal massage, but I keep on want to learning and meeting more sisters that are doing this work and connecting, because it's so magical, it's so beautiful, and it has been healing me so much. And I just want to spread the word and to get to know more about it, and to weave more belts to support our bellies. So yeah, it's just, as you said, your introduction really touched me. Supporting mothers, supporting womb is like supporting the environment and Mother Earth, and I feel it very deeply. So thank you. Looking forward to your introduction presentation.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm so grateful to be here this morning. I'm really just here to deepen my knowledge and connection and resources around womb health and healing, and to be in community with other women that are consciously connected to healing their space and holding um, healing spaces for other women. So personally, I would like to conceive. I'm 36, so there's always that little bit of outlier energy that I want to continue just to not to say avoid, but just brush away as I continue to deepen just my connection to my inner knowing and intelligence and ability and all of that. And then also I hold healing space in the medicine space. And so always just looking for more integration practices and resources and tools for the people that I am in community and serving. So I'm just grateful to be here and learn from you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If no one else wants to share, we can go ahead and get started. Yeah, so thank you all so much for those introductions. Thank you for sharing why you're here, what you're looking for. It's like so nourishing already for me to hear from all of you and to just hear like the level of of collective wisdom that is coming into this space together. And I just really want to like honor all of you for the paths that you're on, the journeys that you're on, and really leaning into where your curiosities are taking you and being open to see, what this work wants to share with you. I think that the journey with the womb is, in a lot of ways, it's so universal, and it's this thread that connects all of us as women. We all have this experience of carrying wombs, of having wombs in the world, and it's a unique experience. And it's, we all bleed, we all have this capacity, this potential for birth, this potential and capacity for death, this opportunity to be in ceremony every single month with our own bodies, with this shedding of our blood every single month, which is such a important and special gift that we all carry, and such a powerful thing that we're able to tap into. And even beyond, the time of bleeding, and going, into those prone years of harnessing all of that deep wisdom of what it was to, to be a woman and to go through whatever initiations your womb brought you into. There's so much to learn from the stories and the experiences that we have had through our wombs. And so really just getting to look at those, and learn from them and learn from each other. There's so much juice here. And yeah, I'm excited to dive in. I also wanted to just read Isabella's message because she typed in the chat. So she said, today is the first day of my bleed, so I'm honoring where I'm at by just sending a chat today. My heart is so here and present. Thank you, Emma, for hosting this. Deepening into my womb journey began last February when I went to a mind abdominal massage retreat with Emma in Guatemala. It showed me how strong the communication and connection I have with my womb is. It does speak and constantly communicate with us, and if we are willing to listen and tend. It's been a long and spiraling and beautiful journey and healed my relationship with women in many ways. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay, so yeah, I want to start off by just giving thanks to the people who have been in my lineage of teaching and education. Like I said, I started this work in Guatemala, learning the Mayan abdominal massage with this beautiful woman over here on the left. Naomi, you might know her if you spent 6 months in Guatemala. I imagine that you met Doña Dominga, and she's such a special woman who teaches this massage. And I also want to give thanks to my teacher who brought me to her, which is Mariyu Kubatu, who I'm sure that you also know, Naomi. And Isabel, I know you know her as well. And yeah, Mariyu has been such a beautiful bridge of, bringing these really ancient teachings to people who come from outside of their culture. And I just want to name how much of a privilege it is that we have access to these kind of teachings. There's, because of colonialization, there has had to have been this retraction of the ancient knowledge and information because there was a great need to protect it. And, people like Mariyu have done such a beautiful job of forming relationships that have created a lot of trust for these wisdom keepers to open themselves back up and share this information and this knowledge and recognize how important it is that we all have access to this, because it belongs to everyone, to know how to truly care for our bodies in connection to the earth. And in connection to spirit. And so, yeah, this is Doña Dominga. She teaches the abdominal massage. And this woman over here, Trinidad, is a woman that I just recently met on a trip to Peru. And she's been carrying this information about the traditional uterine massage and doing this technique called the Waitasca, which I'll share more about as we move on. But she's also a beautiful woman and, just knows all of this information about plants and about womb health, about fertility, about birth, about our blood, about our cycles, about our sexuality, because it's just been passed down in her lineage. When we met, she's maybe a 60-something-year-old woman, but she has got so much energy. She has so many animals that she tends to, and we went on a walk around her neighborhood and around her little village, and she just knew every single plant that we walked by and could identify all of them and recognize that there's medicine on all of the plants. And that's something that I don't know if I'll get too deep into today, but a huge part of my lineage of understanding of womb health is so deeply interwoven with the plants. And it's inseparable, that the way that we care for our wombs is also with the support of plants. And there's so many ways that we can work with them to support our womb health. But again, there's this really strong connection between tending to our wombs and tending to the body of the earth, and recognizing that the more that we connect with our own bodies, the more it calls us to connect also with the body of the earth. The more that we connect with the plants, the more that we connect with the earth, the more that we begin to understand about our own bodies as well. And, and I think working with the plants as well also teaches us this form of subtle communication, which is what we're all looking for, right? This is what we're all desiring when we say we want to learn how to connect and we want to learn how to communicate with our womb. It's a connection beyond words, but it's a form of communication that is so real and can give us such real insight and direction and guidance in our lives for how to show up and how like what our path is. You know, Kristen, you were talking about like getting to this new chapter in your life and like what does it look like and how do you walk it in a way that feels more true to your own essence. And so much of that is about like getting really quiet within yourself and listening to these more subtle forms of communication of like, who really am I and how do I want to create and show up in the world? And it's kind of it's a mysterious journey that like we're creating the path, we're creating the way. There's no one that's going to come and tell us like what to do with ourselves or how to show up. It's about us like feeling and learning, you know. And Kathy, you were talking about like really understanding these, like the yes and no of your womb and like getting these messages of like, yes, this person is for me, yet no, this person is not for me. And like using that in all things in life. And, you know, our womb can really be a compass for everything that we do in life. Once we learn to like strengthen and deepen this connection, it can give us these more and more clear answers. So let's get into a little bit more of the connection and how do we connect? How do we understand this language of our body? Let's see. Gosh, there's like so much that I share. I actually want to share like a little bit more about Doña Dominga and just the way of this way of connecting to our body. So something that has always really touched me about her and about the Mayan abdominal massage and Mayan midwifery in general is that, you know, that it's really bridging this gap between science and spirit, and, you know, how we understand medicine, because the medicine people, you know, the traditional medicine people before we had Western medicine, they received all of their information from being deeply connected to the earth and deeply connected to the plants. And a lot of the things that we know from them, which we're proving by science today, really works, is just because they were deeply connected to the land and to spirit. So, you know, something they say in Mayan midwifery is where they receive a lot of their information is through their dreams. And so she would tell us that, you know, before going to work with a client or before going to attend a birth or before going to visit a mother, or a mother to be, they would receive information in their dreams of maybe where the baby was positioned in the belly, or they would receive visions in their dreams of how this birth might go so that they could show up knowing a little bit more about what tools that they might use and how they might need to, you know, massage the belly so that the baby could come out in the optimal way. Things like that. I worked with one midwife there, Nana Rosalia, who has attended over 3,000 births, and she never once had to go to the hospital to deliver these babies, and never once had a death in her births. I also want to be clear in saying I'm not against hospital births. I'm not against using modern medicine. I think that we're at a place in our life that there's this really beautiful opportunity to weave all of the knowledge that is available to us. And really the most important thing is about our connection to our bodies and knowing what's the right path for us. And so anyways, I just, want to share that piece about, that as we move forward with taking care of our bodies, taking care of our wombs, moving into health, like different ways of looking at health, things can get really confusing. There can be so many different options, so many different pathways. And the more that we figure out how to have a really grounded connection to our own body, the more that we can find what route is right for us. And also recognizing that we are at a place and a time on earth that's not the same as it was when these traditions were being born. And so, you know, as the earth is different, so are our bodies. And so we may require different forms of care. And the more that we can learn how to weave, you know, the ancient ways and the more modern ways, I think it can help us kind of, come back into into balance and restore, you know, all of the beauty, the abundance, the health, the fertility that was, you know, so strong in those times. So who is this work for? This is mostly for women, but I do want to say that the abdominal massage can also be supportive for men and children. There's a lot of, it addresses, you know, gut health and digestion as well. And so there's also so many issues with that and people today, and, you know, everyone knows the state of our food right now, and it's intense. And so this massage can be beneficial for men as well. This work, and when I say this work, I'm referring to the work of, you know, both the Mayan abdominal massage, the traditional uterine massage, and also this work of like the spiritual connection that we have with the earth. It's all related, and there's so many ways that we can go about addressing issues, symptoms, imbalances that come up within our womb. So this work can also be supportive along the birth continuum, anywhere from preconception to postpartum, having the desire to conceive, infertility. Like, there's so much that we can do to support that before arriving at these places of, you know, going through IVF and all that stuff. And also, like, so much work on both the physical and spiritual levels to support birth. It's also beneficial for those desiring support with digestive and reproductive issues, and as well as those with sexual and reproductive trauma. My into womb work was definitely through dealing with sexual trauma, and there's so much that can be done with all of these. So if anybody has questions also along the way, I know I'm like talking very fast, but there's just so much to share. Oh my gosh, it's already 10:40 as well. There's just so much to share. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat and I will try and get to them. There's two main points of focus in the Mayan abdominal massage, which are the heart of the stomach and the womb. Those are the two main things we're kind of assessing and addressing. So what is the heart of the stomach? That is a term used in Mayan medicine. The heart of the stomach is the bottom of the aorta. So I'm just going to read this. I have these slides because it helps me stay focused, because as you can see, there's like so many directions this can go in. But that is the nature of the womb. It is very multidimensional. So the aorta is the largest blood vessel in the body. It occupies the central channel of the body, moving from the heart all the way down to the abdomen. And so the abdominal aorta is what the Mayans call the heart of the stomach. The aorta distributes oxygen-rich blood to the liver, diaphragm, stomach, spleen, abdominal esophagus, intestines, kidneys, spinal cord, and pancreas. From there, it splits off into the iliac artery, supplying the legs, gluteal muscles, and organs in the pelvic area with oxygen. And so a lot of you have probably been able to feel what the heart of the stomach is in your body. It feels like a heartbeat. And they say in Mayan medicine that the home of the heart of the stomach should be on your belly button, because it's all connected to the aorta, and the aorta starts in the heart. You might feel it, you know, above the belly button as well, but like the strongest pulse should be in the belly button. And so that's something we're looking for in the massage. And I want to emphasize too that, like, you can do your own work on your own belly. You know, you can look for the heart of the stomach. You can palpate your womb and feel around to, like, if there's tension, if there's numbness, if there's pain, if there's like hardness. You can, you know, use your own hands, the medicine in your own hands, and work with your belly. There's a lot more to say on that, and maybe I'll do a class on that at some point. But anyways, something we're looking for in the massage is to kind of bring the heart of the stomach back home. And so the idea is that when we bring the heart of the stomach back to its home, And it's really normal for it to move out of place. The reasons it moves out of place is like poor digestion, stress. It can even be fear. Those are kind of the main reasons. We bring it back home. And so the idea is that once it's back home, all of the other organs begin to, start to function a little bit better. It's like returning to that idea that I put at the beginning of the slide of the grandmother way of like, we want to create so much health in the body that there's no room for toxicity. And so doing this massage, and especially doing self massage like regularly, is so supportive to just keep ourselves in check, to keep ourselves in balance, to keep our bodies like functioning in alignment as we navigate through life, because things are always going to be happening. We're always going to continue to be having, hard experiences, big experiences, things going on in our life that maybe throw us off a little bit. And so we continue to tend to our bodies, right? Our bodies are not something that we can just like fix up one time and then like we're done. Like our bodies are something that we have to continuously show up for with love and care, so that it can, they're these vessels that carry us through life and that we have to protect and take care of. So that's a little bit on the heart of the stomach and what we're doing with it. I wanted to share this picture. I spoke a little bit to this already before of like our womb, and this is a picture of what the uterus, like the stages that it goes through during pregnancy. And I just wanted to share of like how miraculous this is, that like it can grow to this level and then it can also, and then like it comes back and like puts itself in its place where we are anytime, not in pregnancy. But it's just miraculous that we have this organ in our body that can expand to hold so much life. And like I said, because it has that capacity and because it has that potential and because it can hold so much, the more that we literally physically touch it, connect with it, listen to it, feel it, the more we can begin to sort out and clear out and listen to all of those things that it's holding. Sorry, I spoke to this a little bit as well already. Womb-related issues that can be supported by the massage, infertility, painful periods, PCOS, endometriosis. I already read a lot of these things, lack of libido. And so I just spoke to that a little bit as well of like just bringing physical touch and presence, awareness, like the intention to connect alone, can, like, that's how we begin to form this communication. And somebody spoke to this in the intro of like, doing yoni steams, working with yoni eggs, using the faja, which I'll talk a little bit more about as well. Like all of these things bring our awareness into our wombs. And there's, I think just being a woman on earth at this time in our lives, it's very common to have disassociation or numbness. I'm going to stop the share for a second. It's very common to have disassociation or numbness in our womb space. Whether you've experienced sexual trauma or not, there's so much of just like in our bellies as well, this whole place in our body. There's been a lot of shame projected onto us. There's been a lot of like discomfort of just being in a woman's body. And so much of this work is about like reclaiming the sacredness, the divinity, the beauty, the uniqueness of your own body, and learning what that is to like love everything that it holds despite all of your experiences, and learning how to cultivate that sense of self-worthiness and respect, and learning like what it means to have strong boundaries, that comes from a place of really deeply respecting and honoring this place in your body. And so even just that alone, like receiving touch on your womb and on your belly, for me, I think Naomi was speaking about how like this massage has like just changed her life so much, and me too. And that's why I'm doing this and sharing this, because I was blown away that like once I started receiving this work, um, so much shifted in my life and my perception of myself and how I hold myself in my body, how I communicate with others, how I show up in relationship. So much shifted when I like realized that I deserve respect. And there's like certain behaviors that I won't tolerate. And there's certain things that I want for my life. And what is it going to look like for me to actually walk into the life that I'm desiring to create? Like, what does that actually require of me? And, you know, these are the ways that I think like, and it's kind of mysterious, right? Because if we've had this like dissociation from our wombs for so long, um, who knows what's going to come up and what stories are going to come up, and what things that we may have forgotten. And so it's really just a journey of like being curious with your body, being curious and like letting yourself like go in there without expectations, and knowing that maybe sometimes you'll connect with your womb and like something really big, tender will come up for you. And maybe it'll just be like some little gentle nudges in certain directions. But again, I want to emphasize like even just you putting your own hands on your womb and maybe just doing some intuitive massage on yourself, or receiving body work from someone else, yoni steaming, the yoni egg can be supportive. Also like yoni mapping and like your own like touch inside of your own vulva, you know, and like really being present with that, just breathing like with your hands, with your fingers moving slowly, and like noticing what that experience is like for you. And it's like just for you. There's so much that can be received from just creating that space for yourself. And that's so much of what it is about, as well as like just creating the space to connect. It's actually so much more simple than I think we make it out to be. And we're like reaching for this far out thing and like trying to connect with like this voiceless voice, you know, and really all it is like requires your presence and your breath, your touch. And seeing what comes from there. Journaling is super helpful. I like to do this practice, this exercise where I'm like literally talking to the voice of my womb. And so I'll do some kind of practice, like I said, of self-touch or self-massage, and then start journaling and writing like what came up for me, questions that I might have for my womb. And then I'll switch and write to myself from the voice of my womb, and seeing what comes out. And it's a really interesting exploration of like what is communicated back to you once you start writing. It's pretty fascinating. So yeah, I'm just trying to share some other ways that you can connect, because I know that a lot of you are not local to me and maybe won't be able to receive massage. And like I said, I think that this information belongs to everyone, and is something that us as women, like, you know, it's so valuable and beneficial, and it's something that, yeah, it's in our own bodies. Let's see. Oh, I also wanted to touch on the mouth and pelvis connection. So this is a big thing that we are taught in the Mayan abdominal massage. And, you know, I think there's a lot of like teachings that emphasize this. So the mouth and the pelvis are connected through the vagus nerve in the body. As you can see here, the vocal cords and the vulva, the pelvic floor, the larynx and the cervix, they all look very identical to each other. They look very similar to each other. And so there's this thing of like, if there's, like if you work with one, you are simultaneously working with and supporting the other one. And that's true with all things in our body, right? But you can see here that there's like a very distinct, unique, special connection between these two places in our body. And because they are literally connected through our vagus nerve, which is, you know, what supports our nervous system, and being comfortable here on earth and in our bodies. And so I do this a lot in the massage, especially with people who have, um, difficulty with expressing their voice or stating their boundaries, or, just generally like have trouble, expressing things, being clear within themselves. We work a lot with the jaw and do actual physical body work on the jaw. And also work with sound. There's so much that we can do with just letting sound out of our body. I did a lot of work with Mariu in Guatemala of emotional release and like working through different big emotions that we may be holding in our bodies. And like actually letting the sound out of that emotion in our body. And it's amazing like how much that creates spaciousness and relieves tension in our womb. I think a lot of the issues and imbalances that we experience in the womb can stem from these things of like this, we stack up these experiences in our body that we disassociate from and then hold on to so much. And really what needs to happen is that we need to learn how to walk through those things that happen to our life, to process them in our bodies, to be able to alchemize them and release them and create, ways of being in the world that feel healthy, where we feel strong, where we feel safe, where we feel seen, where we feel respected, and creating that for ourselves. And so doing vocal work can be incredibly helpful, whether it's, actual body work on your jaw or, through sounding, through screaming, through, making strange sounds, or through singing, through writing as well, expression, again, there's like so much more I could say on all of these things, but I'm just kind of like trying to touch a little bit on everything. You know what, like we only have a little bit of time left and I have a couple things left, but I would like to open it up for questions and see if there's any like specific things that you guys want to address in the little bit of time that we have left. If nobody has questions, I can totally keep talking, but if there's anything specific or anything that touched you, anything that you're curious about, I would love to kind of go there.
Hi there. Hi, sorry, I'm in the car now. Question for you in regards to the plants in the womb, like what are your go-to healers, connectors, remedies-ish, like what's your, I know clary sage is a beautiful one, but is there any specific kind of blend or herb that you really feel called to share with us?
Yeah, beautiful question. So one of my favorite blends that I think I like to use is raspberry leaf, nettle, and rose. I like to make infusions of that and try and have them daily. I also like to add lemon balm into there. Raspberry leaf is just really supportive for balancing of the hormones. So yeah, just making like a tea blend with those can be really supportive. Raspberry leaf in general, I feel like is such just like an ally for womb health. It's gentle. There's like not ever too much of it that you can ever have. It's like a very safe herb to work with. I also want to speak to yarrow because I think that yarrow is like such an all-star plant. And it can be used for so many things. Like if people have if they're bleeding too much or if they're not bleeding enough, you can take yarrow. Knows how to like regulate the blood in our bodies in a way that like if you're bleeding too much, it's going to stop your bleeding. If you're not bleeding, it's going to stop bleeding. So it's like so cool because it works like with it, like can read your body and give you what you need, you know? So I really love that. That's something that like I wouldn't take super regularly. And then I also want to speak to mugwort. Mugwort can be super helpful for like pain in the womb, and I like to put it directly on there, like with a salve or something, and then also using the smoke of mugwort. So if you feel like you have a lot of like tension, or if you feel like you have that holding in your womb, or if you feel like, yeah, like Kristen, like you said, like I'm holding a lot in my womb and I want to be able to like access it, release it, tend to it, like just having like a stick of mugwort that's dried and then taking the smoke and putting it like as close as you can to your body without burning it. It helps to soften the tissue around the womb and begin to like break some of that stuff up physically that I think, you know, gives us access to what's there emotionally, spiritually. Yeah, mugwort is an awesome thing to work with.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Naomi said, do you make your own balm to massage? If yes, what plants and oil do you like best to work with? I do make my own, and yeah, like I love to use mugwort oil. I love to use rose. Like I put rose probably in all of my balms and oils. I also like to work with motherwort. I like to work with CBD as well. Like that can be a super supportive ally, like topically. Yeah.
I had a question too. You spoke about yoni steaming and egg and massage. Is that something that maybe you'll be able to do further classes on? Or
Yeah,
series on?
I can totally do some. I would like to do classes on those things.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because I think that, yeah, I have used the egg before, and it honestly was like such an intense experience for me and brought up so much that like I was like, well, I need to put this down and give it a break. Because sometimes it's like that with the womb. And I actually, that's something that I feel is very important to speak to, is that going into the womb can really be like opening up a can of worms, right? And because we can dissociate, it's like we don't know if we might touch memories or experiences that really bring up a lot for us. You know, it can be very tender. And even with the massage too, like one of the slides here that I have is about aftercare, because that's super important, to when you're doing this work, like I said, maybe the things that come up will be subtle and gentle, or maybe it'll be a really big thing. And so like making sure that you have resources in your life to support yourself through whatever might come up for you. So whether that's like having a close friend, a trusted friend that you can have to like hold some space for you and support you if something big comes up, or having a therapist that you work with, having someone that you can receive body work from, knowing some of the plant allies, you know, like the plants are something that we can really lean on, like even having just like tinctures and teas, flower essences, things like this, to support us in navigating the things that are surfaced in the journey of connecting with the womb. Yeah, that's a really important thing. Yoni steams, I do feel, are such a gentle, supportive way to like open that connection and support the things. Like they could also be an aftercare support. And yoni steams can be really simple. I want to emphasize like how simple all of these things are, and how, like I said, I feel they really belong to everyone. And because these are like such traditions of the earth, I believe that like every woman holds the knowing and the remembering within you of like how to do this. And so trust yourself as well. Trust where you're guided with this. Trust the things like the certain medicines that you feel called to, whether it's the self-massage, receiving massage, whether it's the yoni steam, the egg, the meditations, whatever it is for you, like trust your intuition and your journey, because this is your body. And with that being said, you know, it's both, and it's beautiful to receive support, and sometimes necessary, and sometimes can help us access things within us that we may not be able to access on ourselves, you know. Sometimes it's necessary to have space held for us so that we feel safe enough to let go and relax and to be able to feel the really big things. I hope that was helpful.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. When is the best time to yoni steam? Is there a preferred time phase in your cycle? Any time is good except when you're bleeding. You don't want to steam when you're bleeding, or if you think you might be pregnant. I have heard of pregnant women like steaming towards the end of their pregnancy to support labor and induction. But that's something, you know, I encourage you to look in on your own. So yeah, any time of the cycle is great. I steam probably once a month. Occasionally I feel like UTIs coming on. And if I feel any sense of a UTI coming on, or any little bit of like burning or discomfort, itchiness in my vulva, I steam, and it immediately like just like nips it in the butt. So if you have like something that, like if you have something like endometriosis or fibroids or potential cysts, if you have like really intense PMS, I would recommend steaming on a more regular frequency. And that can really support to like move those things. Yoni steaming and like tea infusions as well, like on a regular basis if you're experiencing any of those imbalances. Also, this is like so much information and it's very broad. If any of you have like specific things that you're curious about addressing, please feel free to reach out to me after this call. And we can talk more, because yeah, there's like certain, you know, there's going to be certain, or it's hard to say like in a grand scheme, like herbs that are good for everyone. That's why I said like raspberry leaf, super safe, super gentle, super beneficial for any woman. Rose as well. But then, you know, there's other blends that are more specific for specific things. There's like frequencies that can be, you know, the frequency, the dosage is important. If anyone has questions about those kind of things, please feel free to reach out. Okay, we are at 11 o'clock. Does anybody have any other questions before we sign off? Or yeah, does everyone have like, I'm pretty sure in the email, like it's connected to my email, but it might be connected to InnerPath. I'm not sure. So I'll just write my email in the chat here. To connect, and I know some of you connected with me through Instagram. You're totally welcome to message me on there as well. All right. Thank you all so much for, yeah, just choosing to spend your morning in this way. And like, I hope that you all received something, or like maybe some little nudge of like what you're maybe feeling inspired to do, or how you want to, like which one of these things that we talked about that you maybe feel inspired to create some space for in your life and explore, you know, this connection and see where it takes you, and you know, follow these little breadcrumbs of the womb journey. That's so much of what I feel like it's about, is just like following these little threads of where we feel called and how our body is asking us to tend to it, and seeing where it takes you, and seeing there's so much support available. There's so many resources available and ways for us to connect. It's so available. And so just knowing that connection, it's always there, actually. Yeah. All right, y'all have a beautiful day. Oh, I don't know if this code is actually real that I'm sharing right here, but I think there will be a code sent out to all of you if you want to get body work. Okay, Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks,
Thank
Emma.
you. Bye.
Let me
Bye.
know if you want to come to Durango.
I do.
All right, we've got extra room. Your mom will be here in a couple weeks.
Sweet.
So, okay, hugs.
Hug. See you.